Check, check, check. Hey, Ms. Hylton, welcome. Can you hear us all right?
Hello, hello.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm well. How are you? Hello,
I'm
everyone.
doing well. And sorry, we have kind of limited technology, but we've got a classroom full of folks here
Hey,
ready to hear
everyone.
from you. And so I'm gonna introduce you, and then we've got two students who are gonna help interview you, and then we're gonna do Q&A after that. Does that sound good?
Yes, amazing.
All right. So thank you for everyone who's both in my class and who has joined just for our very special guest today. There are few figures that are more endemic to hip hop fashion than stylist Misa Hylton. Hylton began working in fashion at 17 years old when she helped style the members of Jodeci for a music video shoot, and her distinctive avant-garde and often edgy vision for her clients quickly linked her with artists like Lil' Kim and Mary J. Blige, who challenged mainstream depictions of hip-hop femininity. From there, she founded China Doll Enterprises, which provided stylists for artists like Aaliyah, Faith Evans, Q-Tip, and many more. In a fashion industry hostile not only to Black women in hip-hop culture, Misa Hylton demanded respect, much in the way of one of her frequent collaborators and mentors, Dapper Dan. However, her imprint and legacy is not limited to her work as a stylist. In 2012, she founded the Misa Hylton Fashion Academy with stylist Jai Hudson to equip the next generation of fashion industry workers with the tools to be on the vanguard of fashion. She also serves as a creative partner for MCM and has styled artists like Beyonce and Jay-Z for the Ape Shit video, Megan Thee Stallion, Flo Milli, and more. So please join me in welcoming hip hop fashion royalty, Misa Hylton.
Thank you. Wow. That was
And
awesome. Thank
the
you.
two students who are going to be joining me today are Marcus Hodges and Rashana Foster, who are both sophomore psychology majors. So Marcus,
Oh, wow.
Shauna,
Nice
take
to
it away.
meet you guys.
Nice to meet you too. How are you doing today?
I'm well. You look fabulous, both of you.
Thank you so much.
So cool. Okay, first off, I want to say I'm so excited to meet you.
Oh, thank you.
So,
Our first question is, you work with many celebrities and artists. How did you build a relationship with your clients? What's the most important part of building a relationship with them?
Yes, I would say the most important part of building a relationship with my clients is really listening, active listening, gaining an understanding of what their goals are, what their concerns may be, what they like, what they don't like, who their inspirations are in life, not even just in fashion, but just in life, and really getting to know them as, a person first, not the celebrity or the artist or the athlete or whatever, just but really just as a person. And ironically, there's a lot of psychology in that, you know. And so I really pay attention and I listen with all of my senses. And I think that once the client sees that you're genuinely interested and want to know about them, as opposed to just saying, oh, this is hot, this is in vogue, you should wear this, you should look like this. You really are collaborating with the client to really come up with something unique and beautiful that's their own.
um, my question for you is, what inspired you to pursue this career path? Was this always your first choice? Did you have any other alternatives where you felt that you were also just as good and would be successful in that department as well?
Well, I was always into image and fashion and styling. I wouldn't say styling, but clothes. I loved clothes as a young
Mm.
girl, and I loved image. And I that was, my person was the first place that I would be creative. So as a young girl, I would change my clothes 3, 4 times a day, get into trouble because I was making up too much laundry, and then it went on to styling my friends and those around me, and then designing dresses. So it was like really a natural gift that any place that I saw where I could apply this creativity that I wanted to express, which was like image and hair and everything to do with image, hair, makeup, wardrobe, and designing. I did it. So that was just something that I enjoyed doing. And then fast forward, once I graduated high school, I went to St. John's University in Queens, New York, and I was studying English and psychology. So in another life, I would have been a psychologist. I love psychology. I love personal development. It's just something that I feel is like my other gift. I'm a certified life coach, by the way. So I didn't get that doctorate, but I did become a certified life coach. So I was just always immersed in being creative in any ways that I could be. And then I found myself hanging out with a friend at Uptown Records, and I was just at the right place at the right time. And I was able to jump in on a project just because I was around and help with wardrobe. And it was like, that was right up my alley because I had been doing that my whole life and I loved it so much. So God will align you and put you where you need to be. As long as you educate yourself, um, you're a hard worker, and you stay open to opportunities that may present itself, no matter what it may be. It could be, starting as an intern or an assistant or a helper or working for free. But if you see an opportunity to get into a space that you want to be in, you always take it, and that's what I did.
Right.
And
Right.
that's when I got to work with Jodeci. And then I went on to work with Mary J. Blige. So that was that moment at Uptown Records under the tutelage of Andre Harrell.
All right. And next question is, whenever you get a client, how do you start a look for them? Can you walk us through your creative process?
Okay, so when I get a client, now there's different types of styling, right? You have celebrity fashion styling, you have editorial styling, you have television and film, and you have advertising and commercials. But I'll stick with the music artists. Okay, so when you are working with um, a musician, you have a record label, you have a manager, and you have a publicist, right? And so you're hired or you're called to sort of like interview for this opportunity. And so in that process, um, I always gain an understanding of what everyone wants. And sometimes it's different. The publicist may want one look, the management may want another look, and the record label may want another look, and the artist may want something totally different. And that's when your skill set has to come in on how to like take all this information and then create something. There are times when everyone's on the same page, but the first step is understanding again what the goals are and what the needs and what everyone's trying to accomplish. And you need to hear from all of these different departments, I guess, if you will, so you can have a full understanding. And then also, my process is listening to the music because the wardrobe is a fashion story to the music videos and to the artist project. And it is a way of, the artist will be expressing themselves, and it should be in alignment with the music and the vibe of what they're selling and what would appeal to their demographic as well.
So how do you incorporate femininity and masculinity into your styling? Um,
Mhm.
there are like a lot of times where females are now wearing like more masculine looking clothes. So I just want to know how you feel about it and how you go about with styling in that sense.
Yeah, but I love authentic expressions of self, whatever
Mm-hmm.
that is. And so, again, for me, it's always organic and natural. And so, it's not that I come in and say, hey, hey, client, you should do a masculine look. Hey, you should do, no, that's jumping the gun. I sit and I talk to them. And if that's what they want to do, and then I style it. And because I have taken the time to own my aesthetic, which I encourage all creatives to do, to really know what your style aesthetic is. What is it like, what's your brand aesthetic? Like, how will someone know, like, Misa Hylton style this, or June Ambrose style this, or Laura Roach styled this, right? We all have like a look and a sense of direction that stands out in the styling work that we do. You add that to it, but for me, the most successful co-collaborations are really understanding what the client wants, and so playing with femininity or masculinity, it definitely is something that I would observe through my interactions with the client. And if I could see that, like say a young Tiana Taylor, I would see that she would be able to play with both, right? You just naturally get that from her. And then artist like Little Kim, she loves femininity and celebrates that. And so I probably wouldn't recommend something masculine for her unless we were doing like some crazy editorial and like playing with, image a little bit. So it's very natural.
Okay. So I know that you're Jamaican and you're African American and you're Japanese. How does that influence your fashion?
Hmm. Well, growing up, like I told you earlier, I was influenced. I was always into wardrobe and creativity, and my influences were the things in my environment. So my grandmother is Japanese, and you know, so I was like, she would have teach me how to make origami, and she watched Japanese television all day. So I always heard the language. And when she would travel to Japan, she would bring back kimonos. And then my grandfather, he was Jamaican, and so I would spend summers in Jamaica, and I would be immersed in that culture. And I think all of us are, influenced by what's going on around us. And so when I started to style and just my style aesthetic, it always included those things as well as Black American fashion. My dad is from East Orange, New Jersey, and I would spend a lot of time in Newark and East Orange. And that's where I could really be immersed in like hip hop culture and what was happening on those scenes. And I was just always taken in by all of it. Being a creative person, those are the things that stood out to me, like things, like things about everything about people and culture and my environment and what they were wearing and what the music was at the time. And so that's how I was influenced. It was just taking it all in and really honoring it and celebrating it. You're welcome.
For my question, it may be a little touchy for some, so I just want to my condolences if anybody has been affected by this. But during COVID, how has your career managed?
Actually, business
Uh-huh.
was very good for me during COVID. And again, I send my condolences to anyone who was affected negatively. I actually was affected. The first, like, when COVID hit, I actually lost 12 people, like, in a month, which was nuts. So anyone who's going through that, I'm sorry. And I understand how that may feel. But business wise, it was a very good time for me as far as business. There were so many changes that were happening for um, people who have been on the outskirts of fashion, African American people, but all kinds of people. So it was a time where diversity and inclusion um, really came into play powerfully. And so there were many opportunities for us to highlight what we have been doing and what we continue to do in creating equality and offering network and opportunity and resources for people who are underserved.
Mhm. So what are your takes on current fashion? Do you see any similarities or differences compared to when you started?
My, I love fashion and I love unique expressions of individuality. So when I look at what's happening now, I'm inspired by it. I'm inspired by anything that's creative. I just love creativity like to the fullest. I'm like a real creative. So even if it's something that I may not do personally, or it may not be something that would be a part of my personal brand, if it's creative, I absolutely love it. I I love where the future of fashion is going. I love to see what guys of your age and what you guys are thinking, how you're feeling, what you're creating. I have my Fashion Academy, which is for adults, but we also have programs with high school students, college students, and I'm always just so excited to see where the future is going and what the interpretations are.
Okay.
Now with styling, have you ever hit a roadblock where you just kind of like your creativity is kind of just ringing out and you're trying to find some type of inspiration? How do you go about with that? Like, how do you continue the creativity to keep flowing with your styling?
That's a great question. Yes. Do have I experienced creativity block, like writer's block? Yes. So what I have done when that happens is I disconnect, and I think that's really important because sometimes the stress and the anxiety can take over the creative process, especially with deadlines, or if you're really excited about a project, or if you're working with a group of people and they may not be the best people to work with, because sometimes you have to work with difficult people and it can create anxiety. I disconnect for a minute, not in a way that jeopardizes the work and my responsibility that I have to uphold, but I disconnect. I go into nature. I love the water. I may take a walk, spend time with family and people who love me and that I connect with in a real way as a person, not a
Mhm.
fashion, you know, a
Mhm.
designer, a stylist, or icon, or whatever those titles are. Just really disconnect. And usually in those moments, you get recharged when you can disconnect and you don't talk about it, any of it at all, and just be a person. And then your creativity, which is your gift, right? It just fills back up. And that always works for me. And then I go back fresh to the project. I go back with new eyes. I go back with relief, and the ideas are able to flow. And then also, I love to people watch and doing research. I like to see what people are doing around the world. That's always inspirational. Like what is streetwear looking like right now in Germany or Japan, Asia, Russia, whatever. And those things are inspiring as well. And you get to see how fashion impacts the world and how powerful it is. The expression of, you know, the self-expression that you see in fashion.
Okay. Um, Out of everybody that you styled, do you have any favorites? Is there anyone that you want to style from the past or the present?
I get asked that question a lot. I absolutely don't have any favorites, and I'll tell you why. Each moment that I get to style has always been, or design, it's always been a blessing for me, and it's unique and it's one of one because each person is unique. Every person and every project and every brand comes with, they're an experience in itself, and so I enjoy all of them because I've been blessed to really do something that I love to do, that I'm good at doing. And so there's something that I would do for free. That's how much I love it. And I think that's how you know when you're on purpose and when you're really um, doing something that you should be doing. It's like you just love it so much. If you can be blessed to have that type of experience in your job, career, whatever. Um, but yeah, did I answer that question?
Yeah.
So my class is all about fashion hip hop. And the main question that we're trying to answer is what is hip hop? And what are certain trends of fashion makes it hip hop? So to
Okay.
you,
Mm-hmm.
what does how does styling how is styling a part of hip hop? Or what makes it hip hop? What makes
Okay.
your styling hip hop?
I see. So hip hop is a lifestyle, it's a culture, it's expression, it's a specific expression, usually from the hoods or neighborhoods of the world that is a story that you hear, or it's a combination of stories that you hear through the music, the rap music, through the styling, through the art, um, through dance and through really all of the arts. It's a self-expression and it's usually a voice to what's going on in the world, in the neighborhoods, politically, and it's a sign of the times. And so what makes things hip hop, I would say, it would be um, reflections from hip hop. Like, and when I say that, I mean like the history of hip hop starting from the 70s till now. There's certain things that you just know are hip hop, like hoop earrings or door knocker earrings or sneakers and sneaker culture. And, you know, at hip hop, one time it was tight clothes in the 70s and it was baggy and then it was fitted again. And, it goes back and forth. But there are little things like embellishments and jewelry style, which those interpretations are always changing. Dancing, what are the new dances? All these dances that become like phenomenons and go viral on TikTok and this and that. A lot of them are rooted in hip hop culture. So hip hop culture is um, a global phenomenon at this point that you can see the effects and the power and the empowerment that it gives people, like I said, in Asia or Russia, London and Europe and all around the world. And I think that it's so powerful because it's rooted in truth, and it's rooted in being unapologetic and in empowering oneself, to really be proud of the experience that we're having, in hip hop. So, yeah.
So how is your styling a part of that?
Say that again.
How is your styling a part of that?
How's my styling a part of it? I think
If that's rude.
yeah, my styling.
I'm so sorry.
Say it again.
I'm sorry if it's a little like forward or rude.
No, it's not. No.
Okay.
My styling is a part of it because of the artists that I've been able to co-create with. So many of them, Jodeci, their sound was R&B, a hip hop R&B sound. Mary J. Blige was a hip hop R&B sound. Little Kim is a rapper. So my clients were really, a lot of them, not all of them, but many of them were fans of hip hop and rooted in the culture. So it was natural that my love for hip hop and their love for hip hop would show through the images that we would create.
So I know you didn't have a favorite artist, but do you have a favorite era? And if you did, if you wanted to go back in the era and style, what era would that be?
Oh, I love the 60s. I love the 60s. That's one of my favorite fashion eras, like the late 60s. I love
Okay.
the glamour of it all. I love the femininity. I love the hairstyles. I love the mod look.
No, that's a good so.
Give me a follow-up question. Okay, that's good. Yeah. So great job, you two. No, you did. I'm gonna ask a couple of more questions, and then we'll go to Q&A for everyone else too. But you guys did it incredible.
Q&A, are we still?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and Shauna actually, so Shauna had a question, and she didn't want to ask it because she didn't want to be rude.
Yeah.
Because some people have said you're very forward, which we appreciate. But
Yeah.
so she asked the other day, she said, is it okay to ask, like, what's the art of styling? Because I think some people and we've heard from folks like April Walker and some like early designers like TJ Walker, and some others. And so we've talked a lot about like designers, but this is the first week that we focused on stylists.
Okay.
So is there any way that you could kind of break down a little bit, like, what's the art of styling and how is it distinct from the art of being a designer?
Okay. So the art of styling is you're telling a fashion story with wardrobe, right? So once you understand what the assignment is and what the client wants, now you're using wardrobe to tell a story, right? So that can be from color story to brands that you will engage with, other designers that you will work with and pull from, also considering hairstyles and makeup and everything about what it is that you decided was the style direction. So that's the art of that, is like putting together an image, right? And so an image is not limited to clothes. It's also includes environment. It includes everything about this brand, artist, or person, because style is how you do everything, right? It's not just limited to clothes. Like we have a style, the way we talk. You're forward. I'm forward too, so I love it. It's okay. But we get a bad rap sometimes, right? We're just straightforward. Yeah. You never know what to do. Just so I totally get it. And don't feel bad about that. It's okay. You just have to be mindful, But that's a great trait to have, because people beat around the bush and that drives me crazy. I'm like, what's happening here? I need to know. So so the art of styling is telling a story, a fashion story, through wardrobe. And so with that being said, the art of it is really different from designing, because designing, you're actually making clothes, right? And you're designing for a specific person, male or female or both, right? And it's actually making clothes, but designers make clothes and stylists use the clothes as their tools. if that makes sense. So I've done styling for runway shows, and you're creating a fashion story around the designer's wardrobe. So you're like you're helping the designer sell to a specific demographic and who that person actually is. You know what I mean? Like, who's that girl? Like, who's the baby fat girl? I don't know if that's so old for you guys, or who's the Jennifer Lee girl, or who's the Armani man, or whatever. Like, really telling that story through using not just wardrobe, but accessories and shoes and all those things that help tell the fashion story. Did I answer?
Yeah, I told you it was a good question.
I want to be rude.
No, you're good. So my second question before, and this is the last question before I open it up. So if you have a question that you want, just go ahead and get it ready. And for those of you who are joining us virtually, we're going to privilege student questions first, but there will be a time for other folks to ask questions too.
Okay.
So my last question for you is thinking about, we're about to kind of pivot. We got spring break next week, thank God. And we're about to pivot into the second half of the semester, where we're going to start looking more at the transformations of hip hop fashion in the 2000s and afterwards. And so my question for you is, when we've heard from these folks like TJ and April, who are building in the early years and relaunching their brands and looks in, the late 2010s, we see these shifts and changes of where hip hop fashion circulates and kind of who gets to control it, right? When we think about Pharrell going to LVMH, and of course all the work of Virgil, and we think of artist brands like Tyler Creator's brands and things like that. We see a lot of shifts and changes from these early years that we've been studying fairly closely. So could you tell us a little bit about, like, being a stylist throughout those eras? What has changed specifically in hip hop fashion as we move into the 2000s and 2010s?
What has changed in hip hop fashion? I think that hip hop fashion is always evolving, and I think that's one of the beautiful things about it. When you speak of like an era or a genre, right? So earlier I was asked what's my favorite era, right? And the 60s, but the 60s are like cemented in 60s. What the hair looked like, what the wardrobe looked like, whatever. But the beautiful thing about hip hop is it's a genre that continues to evolve and continues to reflect the times, reflect what youth culture is, what they love, what they're listening to, and what they gravitate towards. So I think that if I was to answer that question, I would say that it's ever evolving. And so how it started reflected what was going on at the time. Like if you go from the 70s to 80s, and I'll speak specifically on female rappers. Female rappers wore oversized clothes and more B-girl or tomboy looks, right, with the truck jewelry. And they did that because they wanted to be respected for their artistry, for their lyrics, for their rap, and not, you know, sexualized or looked at as less than because they were showing up maybe feminine. They wanted to be like we can go with the guys. Think of Queen Latifah, MC, like we can go toe to toe with the guys. Respect me for my lyrical skill. Now you fast forward to Little Kim and Foxy Brown, and they introduced a new take on what the rapper looked like, but they still stood on the foundation that Queen Latifah and MC Lyte and all those queens set. But now, because they could stand on that foundation, they were comfortable to show like, hey, as women, we can show up however we want, right? So there's a lot of women empowerment there. If we want to do the tomboy look or tomboy chic, or if we want to celebrate our femininity, that's powerful too, because as women, we get to show up however we want. There isn't one way to show up. And so they offer range for the female rapper. And now fast forward, you have both. You have Doechii, you have Rapsody, you have Megan Thee Stallion, and you have this array of expression, interpretation in the female rap world, because hip hop is a place that's ever evolving, like I said, and there's room for so much expansion in how you want to express yourself, but it's rooted in truth, it's rooted in empowerment, it's rooted in strength and courage. And I think that's what makes it so dope. And I think that's what everyone gravitates to it for. So I could say, oh, okay, well now this is in style or this designer's in style, but I think that it's deeper than that. I think that it's it's expression. And I mean, and then there was a time that the guys wore oversized clothes, and if you even thought about wearing something fitted, it would be like you're not hip hop. Like no, like get that out of here, guy. You know, and it's ironic that the fit has gone more fitted for men because actually if you go back to Melly Mel and Sugar Hill Gang and those guys in the beginning, they were fitted and they wore tight vests and shiny, fabrics and feathers and beads and all of those things. So hip hop is rooted in specific details, whether it's beads or jewelry or fits of clothing or the type of jewelry that is worn. But it's always growing, but still staying rooted into what it has been for all of these years. And so, looking at hip hop today, I'm really proud of how large it is and how respected it is. And how hip hop, you see the hip hop influence almost in anything. I mean, you can watch TV, Geico commercial, the lizards rapping. You just see dances rooted in it. Um, Fashion, styling, all those things. Design is like um, it's rooted. A lot of it is rooted in hip hop, and that speaks again to how powerful hip hop is, how it's ever evolving, but how it really touches people in a deep way, and it's interesting, and people love to watch it, and they love to see it, and so it also sparks creativity and inspires.
That was beautiful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So, Shauna, would you mind being my mic person?
Mhm.
I'll pass that around. So, who has a question? I think Sebastian, I see a hand over here, and I'll move the camera so that everyone can talk face to face.
Okay.
There you go.
How you doing?
Hello, how are you?
My name is Sebastian. My question to you, and I'm a fan. You do a lot of good work. My
Thank you.
question is, going back to Jodeci, because I grew up with them. So
Okay.
just a question, and ain't trying to offend. I know they was in R&B, but the fashion that y'all gave them, like the one he was in they was I think it's Come Talk to Me. They was in the desert. So
Uh,
what made y'all do that type of fashion with them being R&B, like more? It looked more like rappers, but then to bring that in the 90s like it was, and they was R&B artists. So how did you come up with that concept, and what made you do that concept?
Okay, so the desert was Cry for You and Come and Talk to Me.
Okay,
They have in
okay,
the white suits and the combat boots. So
yes,
I worked with them at the beginning of their career, and I think that it was just an idea to celebrate hip hop style and culture and youth culture and what we were doing and wearing in New York, and not being limited by them singing love songs because they were still young guys. So before that, anybody who sung love songs for the most part, they wore hard bottom shoes and suits and they would be dressed
yes,
up, and that was amazing and it was great. But being a visionary, you are always kind of on the cusp of what's next or thinking about what's next. And so it really was just wanting to see a group singing that looked like us, that dressed how we dressed and that it didn't have to be so formal. So it was just really that and believing in that look and thinking that, wow, this would be pretty cool to be singing these love songs, but have on a hoodie and a baseball cap to the back and then combat boots and baggy jeans. It was just something that hadn't been seen before. And it made a mark, and I think when you're introducing a project, you want to make your mark. I think
yes.
nowadays, you hear so much talk about going viral, and it wasn't for that reason. It was just like, how can I make my mark and my stamp in this space I've been given to
All right.
own?
Thank you very much. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, how you doing? It's
I'm
honor to
well. How are
meet
you?
you.
Thank
Doing
you.
good. My name is Julius, by the way. And my question for you is, what is your thought process whenever you're creating like a new look or just a look in general? Like, what is your thought process in making that?
My thought process is always to connect with the client and the brand or the team that's around the client, and really understand what it is that they want to create. So there's sometimes I have free range to create, and there's sometimes that I have particulars and a criteria that I need to meet. You know, if it's a commercial, for instance, there may be some specific things that I may be able to brands that I could work with or bring into my styling work, or maybe that I cannot because maybe they're not in alignment with the brand that the commercial is for, so it's always about really understanding what the client wants first. That's the very first step, and being really clear about that. And while I'm hearing what the client wants, my mind is already working. I'm thinking of brands, I'm thinking of styles, I'm thinking of designs. I'm already kind of visualizing it while I'm listening, and that's just a skill set that I have that I think is good that to develop. So while you're hearing what someone wants, your mind, you're already styling in your mind. You're already, when you're a creative person and you're a stylist or designer, you're a visionary. So everything starts here. You got to see it here, and then you bring it out into the world. And so that's the thing. I'm listening for what I need to do. I'm not pushy about what I feel something should be. I really want to understand what's wanted and needed.
Thank you. That's fire. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello, my name is Jadarius Littlejohn, and my question is: with you being someone already in the industry and thriving, and having as much wisdom and knowledge that you do now, what do you or what would you wish you would have learned before stepping into the industry?
Mm. I wish that I would have learned about entrepreneurship because I started as a freelancer. So I wish I would have learned more about starting a company and the responsibility of that. I mean, I ended up doing that with China Doll Enterprises, but I wish I'd learned about that sooner, um, because anything that you do as a creative, you want to monetize it and you want to create business around it. And so, although I did learn how to do that, I wish I learned sooner.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing okay. My name's Ty, and my question is, when it comes to personal style, what are a few items that you feel like make a solid wardrobe?
Mm, whatever that is for the person. I mean, I think that you should definitely have, all right, you should have an outfit ready to go that's on the formal side, one that makes you feel amazing, that makes you feel like, yeah, I feel like that person right now. I could conquer the world. I feel amazing. And then so formal, your something that represents your personal style. And then I would say something that pushes you outside of your comfort zone and styling. And so there aren't specific things. I'm not a fashion person that would say, oh, you need to have this sneaker and you need to have this coat and because that's limiting, and that's kind of boring, and it's like keeping someone in a box instead of allowing their expression and their unique sense of style to come forth.
Okay, so my question is, what are some of those things for you? Like, what is an item or something that you wear that makes you feel like a superhero or amazing?
Oh, I love accessories. So I love shades. I love hoop earrings. These are Simone Smith earrings. I have a collaboration with her as well. Simone Denim and Diamonds collection. Hair is always an expression, and something that I love to play with. Hair color. I've had every color hair you could think of, and so I just love really accessories a lot. And hair is an accessory for me. So I love shades, I love jewelry, I love oversized rings. Um, I call these my superpower rings, my 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 superpower rings, my superhero rings. I'm sorry. And so yeah, that's it for me. And it's changing. I love color, but I love black as well. I just love everything with fashion. I really do. When people say like, "What do you like?" I love everything. I just love fashion. I love creativity. I love fabrics, and like I said, accessories. I think is big for me.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, what's up? So, I have yet another question, but as a woman, and not just a woman, but a woman of color, what are some obstacles that you have faced, within this line of work?
Hmm. As a woman,
Mm-hmm.
um, I probably would say pay equality. Has been a was a challenge early on. I think um that would be one, but I
Yeah.
was I wasn't really I didn't see the things I went through as challenges as a woman. They were
Mm-hmm.
challenges that made me stronger as a creative and as a business person. So I
Mm-hmm.
never really looked at it like anything that I had was like because I was a woman. But I mean, it is a fact, pay equality, right? That's in every, I don't care, fashion, wherever you go, right? That's been something that has been a challenge for women for quite some time. But yeah, I don't have too many as a woman, but I was blessed to like really be courageous about the things that I do, and I'm straightforward and I speak up always with humility and grace for understanding. And so anything that's a challenge is just something for me that sparks opportunity that and creativity around that challenge, and it just propels me. So
Was there ever a time where you had to prove to people, your dopeness or how your style is different from others?
never, it speaks for itself.
Period. What's that? Okay. Okay, hold on.
And you guys should feel that way too. You see, you have to be confident about your art. It's yours. You
Mhm.
can't tell me about what something I created that God gave me the inspiration to create. I don't care who doesn't like it. The people who like it will find me and I'll find them and we'll find each other. And that's my people and that's my demographic. And those are my clients and those are my customers or whatever you want to call it. Because who are we to judge someone's creativity? Now, what can be judged is sloppy work, right? Doing something in a lazy manner, if you're a designer, not working in excellence and, making sure that your garments look very well and present well and things like that. So
Mhm.
those things, yes, when you're not showing up as the best business person and not caring about the little things, but my art, your art, everybody's art and their gift, that's not a question. And if whoever don't like it, I feel bad for them. They missing out.
Thank you.
Yeah.
This is Sebastian again. You with MCM now, right?
Yes.
So question, and I know I used to rock it myself back in the day. So what is it? I know you with them. What made MC? What made y'all want to bring it back out the style?
Oh,
'Cause I know it faded a little bit, and why?
okay. So I don't know if you guys saw the film, the remix Hip Hop Times Fashion. So I'm in it, April Walker's in it, Dapper Dan is in it, right? So MCM funded that film.
Okay.
And so me coming on board and agreeing to be a part of the film is how I started my relationship with them. And they had around the same time we were filming, they had a collaboration coming out with Puma. And at this launch party, they asked me to do custom design for Ninth Wonder, Rapsody, and Big Daddy Kane. And so that's how I engaged them through custom design. And the items that I designed just blew everybody away, and it created you know, everybody wanted to have this particular jacket that I made for Big Daddy Kane, which was a motorcycle trench coat. And speaking back to hip hop and how it's evolved, Big Daddy Kane used to always wear trenches. So my interpretation for him today was a motorcycle trench, and the motorcycle style was also very, just this particular jacket was big at MCM right now. So I took, see how I was taking in everything. I took in Big Daddy Kane. He's known for the trenches. MCM, they have this amazing motorcycle jacket. And so I took all that in, made the trench coat. Beyonce saw the coat. She loved the coat. She wanted the coat. That moment turned into her, not only her wanting the coat, but wanting a full look. Zarina Akers, her stylist, contacted me, and it turned out to be featured in the 8SH, you know what else, video for the Carters. And then she used a picture of her in a coat as her hero image for her and Jay, and only image, I think, for the promotion of that. And so that's how the relationship started with MCM. And because of me showing up and really owning the opportunity and really showing MCM what it is that I could bring to them. Look what I was able to bring to them. And so I became global creative partner. And so I don't think that they were, I mean, brands always are looking like, how can we um, improve, or how can, you know, we get the consumer and the fashion world excited again. But it was very organic and it was very natural. But I going back to like COVID, that's something that happened, that was happening. Did that happen? Started before COVID, but then with COVID happening and just this celebration of Black creatives and Black designers and us getting the attention and the light we deserve, MCM was on that before all of that started. And so I admired their love for hip hop fashion. I love that they're a boutique fashion label, you know, like they're very unique and different. And they like staying in that unique and boutique space. And I love the owner, Mrs. Kim. She's a woman, and she's really about empowering women. And it just was like a match made in heaven. And so we were just in alignment. So that's how that went. It was really natural. We didn't engage in business with each other for those moments. We just respected each other's history and business and fashion sense. And I think when two people or two companies, two brands or businesses are on the same page, that's an opportunity for real magic to happen.
A blessing to your continued success.
Thank you so much.
I got another question. We talked about how you go through your creativity process and all of that. Okay, let's say you went through your process and you know what you wanted your client to wear 110%, and then they come to you and tell you, no, I don't want to do this. How do you go about that situation?
Okay, so something like that is preventable, because maybe not when you're beginning, but remember, you have those meetings and you have those talks and those consultations ahead of time. So if you're really doing your active listening and getting an understanding about what the client wants, you would not really kind of make that mistake, because you would already know that they wouldn't want that. You know what I mean? And so, but that's something that can happen, like maybe with a personal client or someone, when you're first starting as a stylist, that may happen, because you may be so excited about what you want and how you see this vision come into life that you have missed what they have shared with you that they want, you know? And so that's why I always say it's great to intern and assist before you jump out, especially with the bigger clients, because you get to see how a professional and a master of this craft operates, how they navigate, and how they deal with those types of challenges. Now, what may happen is in a situation that's really on a professional level, they may say they want one thing and see it and then decide they don't want it. And that's fine. You can never take that personal. But what you do is go back, because a client, we're service providers, you go back and you come up with something else, because as a creative you have ideas for days, and as a professional you have resources and you have relationships, so you just don't take it personal, don't beat yourself up. It was something that didn't connect, and you go back and you fix it, and you make the client happy. We always want the client to be happy. And as a stylist, the type of interning that you do and assisting in education and all the things that you do in preparation for these moments prepare you for these moments.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I got a question. Hi.
Hello.
So I hear a lot, right, about how you be respecting people, right? How there's like a collaborative. But has there been any beef though? That's a good question.
There's no beef. Why would
No
we be,
beef?
why would we
Not so
beef in
whatever?
why would we beef in fashion? For what?
Who got the best drip?
Uh, oh, like competitive
Yeah, how
competition.
competitive? Yeah, now you're getting it.
How competitive is fashion? I think
Yeah.
um fashion probably can be super competitive. I don't take that approach because remember, I told you I love all fashion. So I don't, what am I competing for? Like, what am I, and anything that I'm doing is an expression from my art that I'm being paid for because a person believes in me and what I can bring to the table. And it's my own expression. Now, if there's outside people that want to do I don't know, create that energy, I don't allow that because it's not competition. Because whatever someone else does, I would appreciate that as well. Even if I don't like it, I'm happy that they're doing what they are here to do and that God bless them with their opportunities. So it's no competition for me. We all win.
All right, I get that. All right, thank you. I'm
You're
out.
welcome.
All right. And then if someone online wants to ask a question, feel free to drop it in the chat and I'll get to you right next. But I think Ty's got another question here.
Hello, Matilda, and I have one more question.
Sure.
So as of recently, I just like dived into like a lot of stylists. Like I seen interviews with Law Roach and like Colin Carter, and just like becoming familiar. So for us like that don't know a lot about styling, if there were like 3 people that you could give us to like just educate ourselves, who would they be
Oh
as
yes.
far as styling?
Patty Wilson.
Okay.
June Ambrose. And hmm, let me make the third one. There's so many. And Serena Akers.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Got time probably for one more question. Do we have anybody else who wants to ask a question? Anybody else? Nothing? You want one more, Shauna? The final word? All right.
Yeah, another forward question. I don't know. But hi.
Hello.
So I would like to know how styling has become a career. Like, has it always been a career throughout hip hop?
Um, I think that there have always been stylists,
Mm,
and I think there have always been people around who had that sense of style who were able to operate as a stylist. Now, so in hip hop in particular, so because I mean, you have television and film and movies, right? So
that
as
is
long
true.
as there was always a wardrobe stylist, there was always a
Yeah.
costume designer, and there were people dealing with the clothes and the image, right? So
Okay.
fast forward now to hip hop, and now there's hip hop labels and production
Mhm.
companies and departments within like a Arista Records, MCA, Universal Music Group, or whatever. So then they have music videos, right? And so yes, there's kind of always been a stylist around, but I think that styling as a serious career path that you actually can take courses around and actually become super successful and an entrepreneur and create, so many opportunities with branding and design or whatever. I think that has become more accepted and popular from like the early 2000s till now.
Okay. And with styling, have you ever encouraged any of your artists or people you worked with to have a certain look for their music? And with that, how important is that? How important is it for an artist to have their certain look so their
Yeah.
fans can follow?
And I think that's why people love my work so much and love the 90s and 2000s so much, because everybody wanted to be unique, and everybody wanted and everyone respected what someone else's style or image was. It was like they wouldn't want to look like anyone else. And it's kind of different today. There are a lot of artists that look alike and wear the same things and do the same things, but it wasn't that way before. But yes, for music videos, you are telling a fashion story to the music. And so you're coming up with creative ways to do so.
Well, thank you, Ms. Hylton, for your time again today. We really appreciate you. Can we give Ms. Hylton another round of applause, please?
Oh, thank you. You guys were great. Great questions.
Yeah, thank you again. We really appreciate you. And I'll be in touch with Sierra about payment and things like that. All right.
Oh, you don't have to say that now.
All
Bye,
right.
guys. Have a great day and stay creative.
All right.
Be inspired. Okay. Bye-bye.